All right, we are live.
What's up, Kamar Randolph?
What's up, Tony Holt?
How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
Better than I deserve, but I'm not giving it back.
I like that. Yeah, good evening and welcome. Drop a comment in the chat, and I'll say that we are looking at comments on YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, we may not see your comments, but drop a comment in the chat. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you're here, and we are excited to be with you tonight.
And if you
Tony, you
have any
excited?
questions, just as Kamar said, not just comments, but if you have questions, drop them in and we will get back answers to anything you might have a question about that we didn't cover. All right.
All right. So tonight we are here to talk about why you and your health cannot stay at the bottom of your priority list for 2026. All right. So it is the middle of the first month of the year, right? And for many of us, we've come to believe that how we start the year is how the entire year is going to go. Anybody relate to that? And because of that, I know, right? This moment can feel heavier than it needs to. It can feel like January, if it hasn't gone the way that we hope, we can be thinking that it's done before it's even really started. And, we think that the rest of the year is already written. So, Tony and I were talking about how this year feels like it started really fast. And that little window, that energy that you feel when there's a new year, it seemed like it was shorter than ever. Tony, did you experience that?
Boy, did I ever, Kamar, I tell you, it felt 2025 felt like it sped by and 2026 started before I even knew it had gotten here.
Yeah.
It was crazy, crazy, crazy. But if you think about it, like you said, January, we may not have gone the way we hoped, but the rest of the year has not been really written for us. We are in control, and because of that belief, you know, this is usually the moment where three things tend to happen for us. The first is, we started off strong and then we may have fallen off. The second is we realized that the plan we made maybe wasn't as realistic as it needed to be. We missed putting a few things in to help us stay on track. Or the third thing is we really just haven't got started at all. If that's you, I'm going to say this to you because I want you to know there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, and I have been in all three of those scenarios at different points. Like I've been in all three of those. So what we want to tell you is that tonight is not going to be like a goal setting talk. It's not that new year, new you. I don't know about you, but I feel like I've kind of gotten enough of those messages already. And it's just the 15th of January. And it's not going to be about trying harder. It's really about an honest conversation about why you and your health keep ending up at the bottom of the list, your priority list. Even when they matter to you, even when you really care about your health, it can be hard to prioritize yourself and your health.
And you must prioritize yourself. We all must prioritize ourselves. Kamar and I have had several conversations about that very thing, and we talk about men and women even and breaking how men prioritize versus how women prioritize and what's first. And oftentimes, unfortunately, women put themselves last. And that's not the strategy. That's not self-care. And so, we're going to spend a little time unpacking a few of those things. But, when you think about it, we don't really struggle with our health because we don't care about our health. I mean, I care about my health. I want my health to be optimal. These are the things that Kamar and I hear all the time with people who we serve in Hill 90. And it's not because people are undisciplined or lazy, any of those kinds of things. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of us struggle because we've been given plans or we created plans that look good on paper, but they actually don't work for us well in real life. when you think about it, we call them extreme plans, and extreme plans work until life shows up. And the second that life shows up, man, they stop working. And then we get into things like self-blame and saying things like, this is not what it is, not what it should be, or I'll start again tomorrow. And then inch by inch, moment by moment, day by day, it's just the goal, the plan slips away. And the next thing you know, we're in this place of feeling like we've done this horrible thing, if you will, to ourselves.
Yeah, so drop a I agree, or this I feel that if this is making sense to you, and if you have found yourself in that scenario right now, 2026, you're in one of those categories right now. And here's the part that many of us don't connect with right away. When you and your health keep coming last, it affects more than we think. So I have my own health journey, my own restorative health journey. And what I discovered was I didn't prioritize my health. And then I found myself in a situation where I had no choice but to prioritize my health. So, it affects all kinds of things outside of just the things that we can see and that we're going to talk about. And the truth is that everything else gets harder. And and this is the reality for most of us. You and your health have to be at the top of your list. You owe it to yourself to make sure that that's the case.
Amen. I know, same thing for me. At one time I did not prioritize my health. I prioritized making money, being successful, doing all those things, being on multiple boards and showing up for everybody everywhere. And then all of a sudden I found myself being overweight and unhealthy with many health challenges. And these things really weigh on you and put you in a situation where you feel like you just absolutely can't get this done any longer.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of pause. We said we didn't want to do this as a traditional goal setting, but what we do want to do is have you think about where you are right now, think about where you want to be health wise, and maybe even right now while we're together, kind of think about some things. We're going to talk about at the end a program that we have starting next week, and maybe it's going to be right for you. So let's kind of talk about it. So Tony, let's unpack some questions for
That
folks.
sounds really good. So let me ask this question right here, and if you will, just put something in the chat if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Don't think you've got to go and embarrass yourself or anything like that, because that's not what this is all about. But here's the first question: at what point? I always ask this question. In the last 2 weeks, this is the start of the year, did the plan that you made start to feel heavy, unrealistic, or stressful? Think about that question. And then, if you want to put it in the chat, you feel free to do so, but put it on paper for yourself right now as we pause to give you a second or two to answer that question.
Yeah, let's give you a little second. So Tony, repeat the question so that people get what it is that we're asking them to think through.
That sounds good. So, we all made plans. And so over the last 2 weeks, at what point over the last 2 weeks did the plan you make start to feel heavy, unrealistic, or really stressful?
Mm. And think about how hard that is when you're setting these goals or plans and they're big and lofty. They feel great at first, but then as you start trying to even implement, sometimes even the first step, it feels really hard and difficult, right? So this is what we're talking about. So you just kind of think about, pinpoint what moment that was, when that might have happened for you.
So, Kamara, let me ask another question. How many of us made our January plan and did it fit in your real life? When you made your January plan, did your January plan fit in your real life? Or did it really more fit in the life you hope to have? There's a difference between those two things. So think about that.
That's a good one. We as a team set our health goals a couple weeks back, and I remember doing that exact thing, saying, "Okay, what is the date that I'm going to start this, and is this realistic?" And let me not feel that pressure to just kind of get started before I'm really ready. Let me make sure that I'm dialed in and can do that. That's a really powerful, powerful question.
It is. And when you think about it, I go, man, I put, like you said, we put our goals together and we were ready to rock and roll, and the year started, and I'm already a week into the year and I'm trying to figure out, did I start?
Yeah. So here's
I'm not sure if I even started. And
right, right. So here's a comment that we got after about a week. So can
there
I
you
tell
go.
you that's about the average? We were doing some research, and that's about the average for the time it takes from setting a goal to us forgetting that goal, about a week into the
One
new
week.
year. All right. So, okay. So let's see here. Our next question. Okay. When things got off track, what usually happened next? Now, some of these questions you may have to come back and sit with this replay and kind of, because some of you may be on the move, but these are really, really powerful questions, and they're designed to kind of help you shift right now. We only have this moment right now. So we want to help you kind of shift. So what happened next? Did you pivot and make a new plan? What did you do? Because this is where we often get stuck right here.
And I tell you, we talk to people all the time and tell them it's all about progress over perfection. So when you start to think about how you're putting your plan together, did you go and just making that new plan, or making just a few tweaks to the one you needed that you already have probably is not a bad idea. It's about progress. It's about consistency over perfection. That's how we get to where we really want to go health wise as we're building out.
Yeah. So okay, and then let me ask you, um, here's one I'd like to ask you. So, what tends to push you and your health to the bottom of the list?
Mm,
This is a really good one. Is it
mm,
time? Have you ever heard yourself saying, I don't have time to
mm,
eat better,
mm,
to exercise? Stress. Is it stress? My stress level is too high to. Is it energy? I don't have the energy that I need to. What is it? So, what is the thing that tends to push you and your health goals to the bottom of the list? And when I tell you, let me say, I did this exercise and I was like shocked at the answers. I just allowed myself to be real. And I was like, oh boy, I was surprised that I was putting all of these other things above myself and my health. So think about that. Is it taking care of everyone else first?
That's a huge one, Kamara. It
Yeah.
happens quite a bit for many of us. And I know that, we tend to say that women do that more than men. But the truth of the matter is, really, we prioritize a lot of things ahead of our health and wellness and well being. And we tend to put off these very important things until we really have gotten to a point where now we don't have a choice. And that's a big place, because I can tell you, I had gotten to that point myself where I didn't have a choice. I had to start making a shift. Now, that was a decade and a half ago, but I can tell you that it was at a point where if I didn't change, then you likely wouldn't have been talking to me 5 years from that date.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, so that is really good. So, and have you ever noticed that when your health starts slipping, that other areas start being impacted as well? So I can say when my health slipped, all of a sudden my job was harder to work, which now harder to care for my child. So when that health starts to fail or you start to have challenges, it literally makes everything else harder. And we don't
So
think about that.
it does. It's true. It's true. I can tell you, I just question, what if it for us, it isn't motivation. So that we tend to say that it's motivation, but that thing that we're trying to apply a new approach to our health, that's a big thing. And so, do you feel like you're completely on your own in the process that you use? What would it feel like to reset without punishing ourselves? I think that's a critical component of building a model for ourselves, a plan for ourselves that actually allows us to achieve success.
Yes, I agree. So we said we were going to talk about what actually gets in the way, and hopefully you picked up some of that. That we got these goals that we didn't really set realistically. We haven't put some things in place. We've given up maybe too soon. We haven't prioritized ourselves. So it isn't discipline. It isn't desire. It isn't a lack of care about our health and where we are. And I think that's important to acknowledge that. And what gets in the way is often that we try to do an extreme. So we may say, beginning of the year, I'm cutting out everything. I'm going all in on this. I'm hitting the gym 5 days a week, all in. But what we have found in the work that we've been doing over the years is that approach works for a handful, a small amount of people, but it doesn't work for most of us.
It's critical. I mean, it's a major problem that we face when we find ourselves in that scenario right there. So figuring out what actually gets in the way and clearing the way for success is a powerful approach for us achieving the goals that we desire, for setting ourselves on a pathway that allows us to be where we want to be when we want to get there. And so we've been taught that the answer is always to just go harder. How many of us have done that? More rules. You think about it, more restriction. I'm going to put myself in this situation, more pressure, and this intensity feels powerful and empowering at first, but intensity absolutely doesn't survive real life.
Yeah, moving forward does not mean going harder, and it doesn't often mean going faster. It usually means going smarter, taking a different approach. So Tony, I saw that there was a comment that it says, I sort of expected I would get off track, so I just kind of pushed through and set a goal of getting through to the next week and then the next week. That's one way to approach it for sure.
It is.
But we're going to have to talk about a different approach that
Yeah.
works for most of us.
Intensity has no plan really for stress. If you think about it, it doesn't have a plan for fatigue. It doesn't have a plan for travel, work, or personal. It definitely doesn't have a plan for emotions. And so when you start to really think about how this works, we don't set our goals with these things in mind or our plans with these things in mind. So then when intensity breaks, and it always does, many of us assume that really we are the problem. And that's really not failure. That's a flawed approach.
So moving forward doesn't mean going harder. Remember that. And so we just want to make sure that, because that intensity or those extremes, they create short bursts of change, but structure is what actually creates momentum. Structure is the thing that creates the momentum.
You must have it. You must have it. And when you think about it, for many of us, the progress starts when we really stop trying to overhaul everything at once. How many of us literally try to make things perfect, to run the play the way we think it ought to be done, and without any latitude for change? You might get a streak of perfection, but the truth of the matter is none of us are perfect, and none of us can predict the future. And the future is always a part of your plan, whether you want it to be or not. So when we stop using this intensity and really substitute it for structure, things tend to change.
So does that make sense? If that makes sense, give us a thumbs up. or
Yeah.
just drop in the comments that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's making sense to you.
I know it makes sense to me, Kamara. Well, I
And I
did say it,
like
but it does
this.
make sense.
So this is another, we're going to talk about the ways that you achieve your goal. This is another one to adjust the goal to be about 75% of what you want. That means you're not striving for perfection. You're just striving for progress. That's what we highlight, progress over perfection.
Progress
Thank
over
you for sharing
perfection.
that. Appreciate that. All right. So, all right. So if this feels helpful, like I said, drop a thumbs in the chat. And so we want to talk about shift gears and talk about our Drop 10 challenge, which is a program that we are starting next week, next Thursday, a week from today. So, Tony, do you want to talk about the Drop 10 and what it is?
Sure, I'll share a little bit. I'll say this. This is not a weight loss program, if you will, that most people in the traditional sense of, hey, I'm going to lose a lot of weight. We're not going to make those kind of promises to you that you're going to come in and you'll lose a lot of weight in 10 days. No, it doesn't work that way. So what we're more interested in is helping you to do a smarter way to start losing weight in this year to ignite the type of change you really want to see long term. And so it's a powerful approach to be able to say, okay, I've got a system, I've got structure, I've got a process. I know exactly what to do. And some people are helping me to achieve that. I think about the way we have set the Drop 10 in motion is really, the fact that we understand that most of these plans focus on, like we said, discipline and restriction and eat less and exercise more and stay on track and, willpower. But, willpower is not the thing that drives success. Those things actually, like we have been talking about intensity, they work against you. So we don't want to put a game plan together like that. We want to put a game plan together that takes an approach on focusing how our body really responds to food and how you support those things and how it supports energy and how to reduce inflammation. If you heard Dr. Billups and I a couple of days ago, we talked about inflammation and how to reduce it, how to not restrict yourself, but to show you how to eat as much food as you really could stand to eat and still lose weight. People go, how is that possible? Well, it's possible because you know what to eat. That's the key, when to eat it and how to prepare it. And so we're going to share with you all of those kinds of things to show you how to actually take the foods and eat more of the things that are beneficial and healthy for you and eat less of the things that are causing us the major problems.
Yeah. And so it's going to be 10 days. We're going to be together for 10 days, but really it's a 30-day roadmap that we're going to be sharing with you. So you're going to be learning some new concepts that maybe you haven't been introduced to before, really uncovering the secret to not just the weight loss, but also this works for everything. Had cancer and I used it for, for cancer. So it works for many different things. And of course, we're not making any kind of claims. We're just saying that we're just going to give you a roadmap, some education, and we'll be together for 10 days, a little bit of training, a lot of support, a lot of community. And so, yeah, Tony, anything else you want to say about the Drop 10?
Yeah, some live sessions. I think our live sessions, people ask us about those all the time, but we're going to do live demo sessions and show you how to prepare these delicious foods. We're going to give you a meal plan and recipes and all of those things that are really critically important to your success, and then show you why the things we want you to do are attributing to your overall improvement of your health and not just losing weight, but living a better life.
Yeah, this is good. So I'm going to drop in a QR code at the top. So if you want to learn more about the Drop 10, you can scan the QR code. You can inbox us if you have any questions. And we hope to journey with you. I will say that 2026, we're pretty excited about what we've got coming up. So we know that health is something that is on most of our minds these days. Containing the cost, making sure we're as healthy as possible, making sure we're around for our families, making sure we can do the things that we really want to do. And so we're excited to be able to help people along that journey.
Absolutely. So honestly, if you're tired of starting over, if you're tired of feeling like you failed, if you are really ready to do something more realistic, that's really what we want to help you do. And so for us, we're just excited about the ability to be able to help people win, because 2026, with everything that went on in 2025, for many of us, we should want 2026 to be the year that we strive, that we achieve our objectives over and above anything that we really could have ever dreamed of or ever imagined.
I love it. I love it. That's a powerful thought to wrap up with. So be sure, if nothing else, make sure you come back to this replay, work through those exercises. This is kind of the stuff that we do. Make sure that you are on track for your goals and that you are at the top of your priority list for 2026.
God bless. We love you. We'll see you at the top.
Good night.
Good
Thanks
night.
for joining us.